Hey, everybody, it's Evan Grant from the Dallas Morning News, dallasnews.com, your friendly neighborhood Rangers insider, with another edition of This Week in Rangers Baseball, y'all. As I record this, team is 9-9, and we'll get to what to make of all that in just a minute. But first, business. Try and like these videos, please. It's very important to my self-confidence. Secondly, subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you. This is my very concerned look. No, everything's great. And quite frankly, for the Rangers, it's not been a great stretch. They are 9-9 as we record this, just having lost 4-2 to Detroit. Another game that they led at one point in time in the latter half of the game. And I think that it's certainly possible that there are a number of Ranger fans who look at this team and think that this team should be 13-5, that they've wasted an opportunity here for a really good start. And in some ways, look, they have. I can look at this team real quickly and find 4 games this team could have won with a little bit more of a lockdown bullpen. But I think that the bullpen is going to be an evolving issue all year. Certainly was last year. And I think in some regards that also feeds into this. Look, there have been some really good developments in the bullpen. Until today, Jake Latz has been really good. Had a little bit of bad luck against Detroit. That's a rookie. David Robertson and Kirby Yates have been lights out. Those 2 free agent signings have been dead on. You looked at Jose Urena. He's been really good in a multi-inning role. Jose Leclerc, when he moved out of the closer role and pitched in a multi-inning role earlier in the game, was quite frankly brilliant against Detroit. So there are some bright spots. I just think that because of the history that the Rangers had last year with the bullpen, because the save percentage was so low, because they don't have a quote unquote lockdown closer, that narrative is going to exist for a while that the bullpen is a mess. Hashtag bullpen is a mess. You hashtag it out yourself and see what it says. I don't know how to explain to you that I think that the bullpen is an evolving organism. Call it fickle every year. Call it dependent on it's codependent on everybody out there. And it's dependent on the starting pitching. Starting pitching doesn't go deep into games. Puts stress on the bullpen. If somebody doesn't do their job, everybody else has to move up a notch. You're talking about using 3 or 4 relievers every night. Listen, you take out one Urena bad outing, you take out one Leclerc bad outing, you take out one Yeri Rodriguez bad outing, and that could be 3 wins right there. But that's how easy it is to sink a team in baseball. One reliever stumbles. I will say this. Through 18 games, Rangers are 9-9 as they're in the second half of a 17-game stretch without a day off in early April. That was really going to be a test for them. They've still got a series at Atlanta. But all along, I thought the most important thing about this stretch was that the Rangers survive. There is hope that there are cavalry members coming in Max Scherzer and Tyler Mahle and Jacob deGrom. I think you can add to that while this offense was supposed to be the strong suit of this team, that was before we got the spring training and before you had injuries and before you lost Nathaniel Lowe, who has not played yet this year, and Josh Young, who's been limited to 4 games. Corey Seager coming back from his sports hernia surgery. Uh, I don't think he certainly acquitted himself fine at the plate. I just don't think that he's in peak, uh, not condition. I don't think his swing is in peak condition right now. And listen, this is a guy who puts a lot of work into his swing every day. Not having the ability to do that on a daily basis in spring training for a significant amount of time, I think certainly had an impact on how ready he would be on opening day. On top of all that, you've got two rookies in the lineup, two guys who I think, look, are both going to be rookie of the year candidates before the season is over, and both guys are certainly holding their own. But Wyatt Langford's yet to hit for power. Evan Carter went through a little bit of a dry spell early. I just think that this is a lineup that will be much better May, June, and on than it is right now. And so the verdict I had was that I thought getting through April around 500 would be an accomplishment for the Rangers. I think that there was some concern that they would start out slow. Now, I mean, the flip side is you can look at it and you can see the games that they've lost, that they've had leads late and lost. You can take a look at the current stretch and say offense has got to be a little bit more consistent than it's been. I think that's all fair, but I do think that at the end of the day, most important thing for the Rangers, well, there are two most important elements for the Rangers in April were A, survive, B, don't let anybody run away with the AL West or take a huge lead in April, 4 or 5 game lead. I think at this point in time, the Rangers remain tied pending the Angels game on Tuesday atop the division. So nobody has run away, and the Astros, who should probably be at least the co-favorites, have stumbled worse than the Rangers. Seattle, I never know what to make of Seattle. They've got really good pitching, really good starting pitching. And that should carry them, and they should be in the race all year. But all I'm saying is the Rangers have not had anything in terms of catastrophic start happen, and that's what they've needed to avoid. You can say, look, without Josh Young in the lineup, that was a big blow. Without Josh in the lineup, they have managed to survive. One thing that I think is a kind of a positive for this team early on is the fact that through 18 games, the rotation ERA. We talked about how this rotation was thin, and this is a real point of contention all winter. The rotation ERA is 3.33. Michael Lorenzen was very effective in his Ranger debut. Nathan Eovaldi's been great. Cody Bradford, who right now is dealing with a little bit of back stiffness, has been far better than the Rangers probably could have expected. John Gray's shown some promising developments. Biggest stumbling block right now has been Andrew Heaney. And listen, I think when it was all said and done last year, Andrew Heaney ended up pitching out of the bullpen in the stretch and in the postseason. I'm not so sure that won't be his role again as this year evolves. Which brings us to Thursday's probable starter, Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter. Sound the alarms. It's Jack Leiter time. I think it's a very anticipated debut for a Ranger pitcher. I think there's what I wrote for the website was that I think this is a call up. I don't think it's necessarily the call up for Jack Leiter. I'm not sure that he'll stick around past Thursday. The primary goal here is to get an extra day of rest for the rotation. It's not that Jack has absolutely dominated AAA. He's pitched well at AAA, coming off a 10 strikeout game. He's given up some home runs there, but he's pitched well. He's thrown strikes. He's commanded his fastball, which he's throwing well over 50% of the time. So if he just pitches, if he keeps the Rangers in the game, I think it's probably just a one-off kind of start for him. He goes back to Round Rock. He's had a taste of the big leagues. This is a guy whose family has big league bloodlines, who understands what the big leagues are about. And I think getting that practical experience is going to help him finish off. I think this is a guy who's responded well to leveling up his challenges. I don't want to say Jack Leiter is bored by the minor leagues, but I do think that the Rangers, when the Rangers rewarded him, he went through that development program where he was out of the rotation for a while, working on a pitching program. Came back, made a handful of starts at Frisco, got the promotion to go to Round Rock to finish off his season. Stuck around all of spring training, performed, and was rewarded for it. And I think this is reward for continuing to perform. And I think he responds well to that by moving up. I think he likes to level up the challenges. The most important part for the Rangers is that Jack has started using the fastball more regularly and throwing it for strikes. At Round Rock, well, since he came back from that pitching development program, I think he had 7 appearances, maybe 8, 3.97 ERA in Texas League and the Pacific Coast League. Those numbers are fine. What I think is really significant is it's 52 strikeouts to 9 walks. Walks are way down. It's a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk rate. That is the kind of thing that gets the Rangers' attention. Strikeout to walk rate, I think, is a really important element for this club in terms of evaluating players. So we'll see what happens with Jack on Thursday. Cole Winn got a call up on Sunday. It was supposed to be basically for a day. He was supposed to be a long man, mop up. Ended up pitching so well in that role that, hey, he stayed with the team in Detroit. He's here for the foreseeable future. And with Winn and Leiter, the Rangers now will have had 5 first-round draft picks make their debuts in April. Just astounding. We'll do it chronologically in terms of draft picks. 2018 first-rounder Cole Winn. 2019 supplemental first-rounder Davis Wenzel. 2020 first-rounder Justin Foscue. 2021 first-rounder Jack Leiter. 2023 first-rounder Wyatt Langford. May start to change the narrative about the Rangers draft success as well. But listen, these are the opening stages of these guys really developing. So let's see what happens. But 5 first-rounders to make a debut in a month's time. Pretty significant. All right, let's move on to the offense. I know I've talked about this a little bit, but I think this offense is going to be fine. I hate to be the guy who, well, no, maybe I like to be the guy who's kind of saying, hey, let's all take a minute. One time I said that outside a bar when I was in college, try and break up a fight, and ended up with this little bump that I have in my lip here still. So everybody chill out. Listen, I do think this offense is going to be good. I think it's going to be really good. I do think that it is missing some pieces right now. And that's significant. We will see what happens when Nate Lowe gets back in the lineup, as Corey Seager gets more at bats, and eventually Josh Young returns. But I think this is a lineup that, last year the Rangers came out and really kind of pummeled teams early. They've had a couple of big games early. I don't think that they've been nearly as consistent early on as they were a year ago. They had some guys who had hot starts last year. I think that they are in position to do damage as the season progresses. If there is one theme that you take out of this, and we should probably play Eye of the Tiger by Survivor as our outro music, it's that they survive. April was going to be about survival. Don't get buried. Don't have pitching injuries in the rotation pile up where you don't have options to go to. The Rangers going to Jack Leiter on Thursday is a choice. It's not desperation. It's a choice. So I think in that regard, the first month of the season has been, if not a success, it's certainly been adequate. And they will be finished with this 10-game with their first 10-game road trip after they played Atlanta over the weekend. They have another 10-game road trip to start May to Kansas City, Oakland, and Colorado. And if you were ever going to have a 3-city road trip, I think that's where you would like it to be. Kansas City is a better club than it was a year ago. The Royals might contend in the American League Central, but Oakland's not a major league team. Colorado is not a good major league team. So if you're going to take 10 games on the road, there's 10 games where you've got a chance to go above 500. Once you get through that stretch, you have a significant number of home games, worth of advantage over the rest of the season. And you'll be getting Max Scherzer back at some point in time in May. You hope to be getting Tyler Mahle in July, Jacob deGrom sometime in August, Josh Young maybe by June 1. So if this team can, to harp on a word, survive the early part of the season, I think it's going to be in position to do some pretty fantastic things down the stretch. Hopefully, we'll also do some fantastic things down the stretch here on This Week in Rangers Baseball. I don't know why you people tune in, but I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Before I get out of here, I just want to say something. Look, I'm a 58-year-old dude. I grew up in Atlanta in the 1970s and 80s. Yeah, I watched wrestling as a kid. And so Dusty Rhodes was my Von Erich. And the fact that Cody Rhodes is now the undisputed WWE champion has put more pep in my step for a full week now. I don't even watch wrestling anymore, but I've looked at Instagram and followed some news, and just warms my heart. I don't know. There are certain people who were like larger than life when you were kids. And for me, it was professional wrestlers and baseball players. So hats off to you, Cody. American Nightmare. I was going to use that nickname for this show, but you took it. So anyway, until next week, when there will be some hard times, Daddy. So long, everybody. Good video.